Hi, I'm Sharon Burns, owner and operator at RX Catering, and we are here cooking with Sharon, the business chat. Oh my God, y'all, I am super excited. I mean, I think you've seen a lot of our guests, but this one today is phenomenal. I mean, I already know because this is something that we all need as small business owners, women, men, everyone. But I have the pleasure of having Radiance Harris here today of Radiance IP Law, and we're ready to get started. I mean, Radiance, you know, I don't know if I explained to you, but a lot of conversations, good and bad, happen over food. Mm-hmm. You know, family discussions, business discussions. Yes. I mean, you name it. Sometimes food is involved, and sometimes some libations are involved. So we're going to get started. I created a little cocktail for Radiance. It's a little secret. I mean, but it's more than juice, and because you all know that we usually sip on wine, but I figured, you know, it's the end of the day, we might as well chillax. That's right. And have a great conversation. So let's get started. I'm gonna cook, and while I start preparing, you know what? Oh my gosh, how could I forget this? Look. I told you this guest was phenomenal. She has a book out. I mean, and if you don't have this, you're missing out. So I'm sure she's going to talk about it, and she's going to share some pointers. But look, you all, if you don't have this, go out, order it on Amazon.
Her website.
Her website. She'll talk about that shortly. But this is what you're going to need. So as you see, it's Trademark Like a Boss. So Radiance, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
A little about myself. So I'm Radiance Harris. I'm the founder and managing attorney of Radiance IP Law. And I help emerging businesses protect, monetize, and grow profitable brands with trademarks. Okay. I've been doing trademarks, all things trademarks, for the last 13 years.
You don't look 13 years. I mean, come on.
You know.
You know how.
You know, I drink my water and I use my shea butter now.
Don't tell all the secrets.
But yeah, 13 years in the game. Previously worked for a big law firm, helped the big brands get richer and richer and protect their brands. Mm-hmm. And then roughly 7 years ago, switched over to doing my own thing, mostly helping small and emerging businesses protect their brands. And I'm basically on a mission right now. My primary mission is to help over 1 million women-owned businesses protect.
A million?
A million.
Okay, so where are we at right now?
I have no idea.
Okay, but
I should have checked the numbers before I got here, but
well, you've checked another one off. You checked another one off the box, so it's all good. You're gonna get to that million. I know you are, because you know, as Black women, I just think as women in general, when we set goals, a lot of times we either achieve them or exceed them. Yeah. I mean, I would say 9 times out of 10 we go above and beyond. Of course. I mean, with anything and everything that we do. So 1 million, no problem. And I'm sure you guys are out there. You're going to help her. You're going to reach out to her because that is important. So for the people that, I mean, when we think of, I think of when we start a business, you need a good attorney. Mm-hmm. You need probably a good accountant.
You sure do.
And and so where would, I mean, people that, you know, are ignorant to the different types of attorneys, can you help us understand specifically what you do?
Sure. Mm-hmm. So I specifically specialize in intellectual property, specifically trademarks and copyright. So when you hear the term intellectual property or IP, you'll probably hear the term IP. It's an umbrella term that encompasses like 4 different categories. So trademarks essentially protect your brand. So things like your brand name, your business name, logos, taglines, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And then you've got copyright, which protects content or original expressions of ideas, would be copyright. Then you've got trade secrets, which protects anything that's proprietary in your business. It could be business formula, it could be a secret recipe, proprietary recipe. All of those things would be subject to trade secrets. And then patents, which protects inventions. What I specifically focus on is primarily trademarks and copyright. Okay. So that's what I help businesses do. I help them protect it and then monetize it to actually make money from it once they do.
Okay, so why IP law, you know, versus some of the other laws? Yes. Let's back up. Where did you go to school?
Okay, so I went to undergrad at Swarthmore College, which is outside of Philadelphia, and then I went to law school at University of Maryland.
Okay, right down the street from here. All right, so why this specific type of law?
Okay, well, I will tell you this. The long story short is that I was an English and religion major in college.
Okay, wait a minute. So you did a little pivot.
I was an English and religion major in college because I always enjoyed like reading and writing and analyzing and all of those things. And I knew since I was 15 years old that I wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't exactly know what lawyer I wanted to be, but I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought maybe I wanted to be like an entertainment lawyer. Like that's what most black women say. Like, oh, I'm going to be an entertainment lawyer, not really knowing what it is. So I was just like, I know I'm going to go to law school. So
is someone in your family an attorney?
No, I'm the first lawyer in my family.
First lawyer.
First
lawyer. Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Thank you. So I'm the first lawyer in the family. And so, so I was an English and religion major mainly because I wanted to understand how people thought, and I really wanted to hone my writing skills and my reading skills because I heard that law school was very intense reading and writing. And so once I was in law school, particularly during the summer, I worked at different law firms and I was able to dibble and dabble in different practice areas, everything ranging from like bankruptcy to like health law to like trademark and copyright litigation, corporate real estate. I tried it all. But I really fell in love with trademarks. I really loved like the fact that it's around, like it's focused on like words and meanings and interpretations and like how they are perceived in the marketplace. Like when you see certain brands, and that was just like really up my alley. Okay. So I fell in love with it. I got a job offered, like basically my second year of law school, the summer after, I got a job offer to work at a big law firm in the Trademark, Copyright, and Media Group.
Here in the D.C. area?
In D.C., yep, and it's a big firm in D.C.
Okay.
And then, that's where my career started.
So you were working for this big firm.
Yeah.
Letting them, get rich off of you.
Exactly.
And your intellectual mind and, all the things that you brought to the table.
Yeah.
So when was it that you said, you know what, hey, I'm done. I think it's probably best that I start my own business because I have the information, I have the knowledge, I can do it. I mean, what made you do that? Because there's a certain comfort level of being in a big firm.
Of course, yeah. So, they call it the golden handcuffs because they wine you and dine you and pay you the big bucks. Yep. But, I just realized that just wasn't for me. Like, that's not how I saw my life, being like a partner in a law firm. And then to be honest, when I left, entrepreneurship was not on the table. Like, it wasn't something I thought I was doing. I actually just left without a plan.
Really?
Yeah. I actually left and I was like, I thought I was done with the law.
Okay, so what were you going to do? You left and
I
then
left. I thought I was done with the law. Like, I thought I was going to be like some like fitness coach or something. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I left and I was like, okay, let me figure out what I'm going to do. So I like took like a few months off and I was just kind of hanging out and had gone to South Africa for 10 days.
Wait a minute. So you're a good saver then, because not too many people can.
I wouldn't say all that because I actually left with and there really wasn't a plan. Like, it really wasn't a plan because it was like, I don't know. I'm weird. I take risks and I don't always calculate them. Okay. But I left and I was like, I'll figure it out.
Right.
And so I finally realized, so I thought I was done with the law, but I realized that I wasn't. What I was done with was working for other people. Okay. And then telling me what to do and where to work and how to act and what to wear. Like, I was done with that, like the workplace environment. But I very much love trademarks still. Okay. So I was like, all right, let me launch Radiance IP Law. That was November of 2015, and here we are.
Okay. All right.
Again, no plan, nothing.
But you know what? I think a lot of people that are just fed up with working for someone may do that. I mean, it's not always the ideal route to go. Right. But, I mean, it worked out for you.
It did.
And, I mean, kudos to you for having that, continual grit grind, because, that's what it takes. A lot of times. But, okay, so you after working and deciding, okay, I'm just going to quit, how did you first come up with your name? Like, the name of your business? What steps did you take? Because this is interesting. Yeah. You didn't have a plan of starting your firm, but it all came in, full circle to something big and great. So for someone that's out there that is doing the same thing that you did, what should they do first? Or what did you do
What
first?
did I do first? I mean, I knew for me that when I started my firm, I didn't want it to have like the feel of like a really conservative tight butt law firm. Like I didn't want that feel. So I was like, okay, everything from like the name to the colors, like I wanted it to like be different. And like, so I was like, well, my name is Radiance. Like that's a word. Perfect.
Right.
So Radiance IP Law. That's how we came up with that. And then I came up with the brand colors. So yellow is the primary brand color, and then like the complements are like white and black. But I wanted that bold, bright yellow because you don't really see that with like law firms. It's usually really. And then I started with the entire flat fee model. Like when I started nearly 7 years ago, not many firms were exclusively flat fees. They were mostly doing hourly billing, and they might here or there like do a flat rate project. But my entire model is based on the flat.
Is it still the same way?
It's still the same way.
Okay, let's talk about that because, as small business owners, especially women, we lowball ourselves a lot of times and don't actually charge what we're worth. So why did you decide to do that flat rate? And then do people always ask you for a discount?
I actually don't get that. I mean, every once in a while you get some little stragglers that will ask, but majority speaking, no, because I'm pretty, like, I think, our rates are more than reasonable. I mean, we're charging, so the trademark process is roughly 14 months long now.
Okay.
And so our flat rate is very reasonable considering that you're getting, like, unlimited access and support to myself and my team for nearly 2 to 3 years,
right.
Depending upon how long the process may take.
Right.
So I will get them every now and then, but I think I've gotten to the point in business where we've branded ourselves in such a way and then, that we don't get that as much anymore.
I mean, because in this area, like hourly rate for an attorney, $300 to $500. Would you say?
Even more than that? Because when I was 3 years out of law school, they were billing me out at like nearly like $500 an hour, and so the partners were being billed out at like $1,000.
Oh,
so
yeah. So okay. Well, you have the flat rate. You decided to go that route versus the hourly because.
Because one, I mean, I think it's more appealing. And then for, emerging businesses and even the larger businesses, you're able to budget better. If you know, okay, I need this and this is how much it's going to cost me. It's good for most business budgets. And then even from mine, like I've already, I can basically handle the trademark process in my sleep. So I know how long things take and what's required and kind of what to expect. And so I'm able to, figure out what that is. So I think it's worked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned branding a little bit earlier. Now I follow you on social media and I see all types of, different types of posts that you make and who does all your content? Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing my own content for the most part. There have been times throughout the years where I have like hired social media managers to handle it, but I think because of the big switch to like video marketing is huge now, like on Instagram, even LinkedIn and YouTube, that I was like, well, I'm going to have to start doing this because that's not something I can really delegate. Like you can delegate out. I feel like you can kind of delegate out like graphics and things like that, but like the actual video recordings, reels and stuff, I had to start doing more of those because that was what was being seen. There's no sense in like creating content that's not being seen.
But as a small business owner, we do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, payroll, because you have a staff. Payroll, marketing, HR issues, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, we're doing all of it. So is there a point when you just want to delegate? Like, what do you do? How do you decide what to delegate out? Because if you're not doing the social media component, that's a lot of time. It
is. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I delegated social media at one point and then I decided to like revisit and how I would do it. So that's like, I guess you learn as a business owner, a lot of it is trial and error. So a lot of times you might hire people to do certain things and then you kind of take a step back and evaluate like really what was the value. Are they bringing the value that I was expecting them to bring? And so that's kind of where I am now is like I'm determining like, can I really delegate this? Is the ROI there? does it make sense, especially with the video component? And so that's kind of where I am. But I do delegate a lot. I delegate I have a phenomenal paralegal who does like a lot of the work. Okay. At one point I had an attorney on our team. Like right now I don't have the attorney. I'm actually looking to hire one, but I've got some phenomenal support, amazing assistant, people who really, help move the needle forward so that I can really focus on business development. Because social media, I think, is a key part of business development. I mean, for our business, over 50% of our business comes from referrals, but then about 28 to 30% comes from social media.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was going to be a question that I asked. I mean, do you see the value of actually being on TikTok and all the social media platforms? Do you find one that's better than the other, where you see a return?
You just have to figure out for your business where your prospective clients, customers are. Like, it doesn't make sense to be on all social media platforms. Like, I have basically identified the basic two. I was like, I'm on primarily two or three platforms. So primarily Instagram, LinkedIn, and then Facebook. Okay. Are the three that I'm on. I have a Twitter account, don't really use it. I'm not on TikTok. Yep. I'm not on Clubhouse and all those other things. But I think you just have to kind of figure out what are the two primary platforms for you. Like, it doesn't make sense to be on all of the platforms because all of your people are not necessarily on all the platforms.
Right. The ones that are spending the money too.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know how many TikTok followers you would, turn into clients.
There are some trademark attorneys who are on TikTok.
So a lot of the social media platforms, you have to benefit from those. Yeah. In order to make sure that you're not wasting your time. Because at least for me, when I was doing creating reels, and it takes time, and I'm a rookie at it. Did anyone teach you how to do
No.
Reels? You figured it out?
I just figured it out. Play around with the,
I'm going to have to take a class from that. Because, I will say that, some of the millennials that I actually interact with, they're like, Sharon, when I first started, they're like, that reel was not good. But I've actually gotten better in the content. So I think it's trial and error, like you said. And I think that's with most of what we do as business owners, because you were coming from a big law firm, and you probably had assistants. Did you had an assistant? Okay, so do you have an assistant now? Okay, you have your paralegal and an assistant. Okay, well, where do you find all these good people?
Well, a few have contacted me on LinkedIn expressing interest, and then Upwork is another great place. So it's like a platform, a freelancer platform where you can put out different job posts and get people to work for your company doing various things. So that's what I've found. I think the last couple of hires that I've had was through Upwork. UP Work.
Okay, all right. I'll have to check that out because is it all just professional?
Whatever you need. It's kind of like a more you heard of Fiverr, right?
Yeah.
Heard of Fiverr. Yep. So it's different from Fiverr. Fiverr is kind of where you go and get really cheap, cheapy things. People go there to get $5 logos and stuff. But Upwork is a little bit more, I guess, refined. I guess.
Okay.
But you can essentially go there and find anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Same as you would on Fiverr.
I'll have to check that out for sure. Okay, so I'm done cooking. I'm going to plate up. We're going to take a moment and come back. But a couple of things I want you to think about Radiance. Okay. And when we come back, because we got to talk about, your personal, how do you balance life? How do you balance your business? Because, you have a son, right?
I do.
Okay, so y'all stay tuned. You got to hear about this and her balance of life and work. It's essential to the overall success, I think. All right. Okay, we are back. I've already started to eat. Radiance, I know you're looking good. Most of our guests don't want to eat while they're on camera, but you know me, y'all. I love eating. So while Radiance is talking, she may take a bite or two, but I'm going to eat. And it's all good, because usually they want to dig in. So we left off with the whole marketing component, and then we started talking about, work-life balance, because I know when I started, I don't think I took a vacation. Most people know RX Catering's been in business for 16 years, but I didn't take a vacation probably for the first, I don't know, like a real vacation for the first 6 years. Mm-hmm. Because, staffing and, right. You didn't want to miss out on business. So I know you've probably taken some vacations.
Yeah, I have.
Did you take it in the first year? When did you decide, you know what, I have my business at a point to where I can leave and not worry about it?
I would say I felt that way like around year 5.
Okay.
Business.
Okay. That's
yeah. I went on vacations though. Like there's not much that's gonna stop me from going on vacations. Like I will figure out something, even if it's like a staycation or something. Like I've always like really valued like self-care. Like and I'm gonna be honest with you, like I would say the first, few years I did a whole lot of grinding. It was very difficult balancing business and becoming a new mom. Like I had my son like around year 2, 3 of my business.
Okay.
And like that adjustment, that nearly took me out. Like the business from being like, no kid to like a kid and then having to figure out that balance, that nearly took me out. And then I had to revisit really what self-care meant. And so that included things like, because at the beginning I was working basically every day. I didn't really have any boundaries between work and personal. And so I made the decision to set some boundaries. So like for me, like I do a lot of like time blocking. And so like, for example, I primarily only take calls on like Tuesdays and Thursdays. My primarily working days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Our firm isn't even open on Fridays. Like we're closed as a firm on Fridays. So we have like a 4-day work week.
Okay, work for you.
4-day work week, and then Mondays I do a little bit of, I'll answer emails, but I'm not doing any substantive work on Mondays.
So how did you get to that point? Because, most small business owners don't want to turn away any business.
Yeah.
Because financially they need, the income. So how did you determine, hey, I'm going to be closed on Fridays? At what point? Did you do that in the beginning?
No, I didn't do it in the beginning. I did it around... so probably was at year like 4. So year 4, I really started to automate a lot of things. So year 4 in the business is when I really I would say productized our trademark services. So like everything is automated. Like you go to our website, you can check out our rates, check out what's included. You engage our firm through our website and everything's automated. So I didn't have to be like, oh, I'll come back and, I'll send you our engagement. No, if you want to work with us, go through our website, book a call. Okay. Go to our website, purchase our services. So that was a big thing too, because I'd already kind of done the big heavy lifting up front and automated it. So that saved a lot of time.
Well, who taught you that?
I hired an agency to do that. It was actually ended up becoming one of my clients, but I hired an agency to automate everything for me. So that I wasn't having to spend a lot of, and that was a huge time and money saver.
I was just about to say that
it saved me so much time and money. It's not even funny.
Okay, but how much did you have to invest into, hiring that person?
It was a nice investment, but I've got it back ROI tenfold. Like
that's my point.
Because at the time, you think it's like, oh gosh, I was kind of like. But I was like, no, let me do this because I know that when you look at the long term of the benefit of this, it's worth it. And for me, it was worth it because I'm still using it years later. It's still working, still bringing us in money, still saving me time. So it's worth the investment. And a lot of times, I think it was, I was at a conference a couple months ago and Myron Golden was speaking and he said something that really stuck out to me. And it was that people with a poor mindset focus on the cost and miss the opportunity. And people with the wealthy mindset focus on the opportunity and ignore the cost.
Love it.
That was it was amazing. I was mind blown because it's true. A lot of times as business owners, we're so focused on the cost of things. And we're missing out on these huge opportunities. So if I was just blinded by the cost of what it was going to cost me, I would have missed out. I still would have been, losing time and money in other ways. So it's just something to be mindful of, is that don't always be sticker shock as a business owner. You have to really focus on the long-term goal and benefit. And like the benefit is long-term, and the investment ends up having a big ROI.
Right. So you mentioned like year 2, you had your son.
It was like between year 2 and 3. Yep.
Okay. So at that point you said, oh my gosh, am I going to continue this? Because having a child, is no joke.
I never questioned continuing it. What I would say is that it was difficult battling, having a new, like my son was a preemie baby. Okay. So I was on hospital bed rest for a few weeks, and then he came early. So I was trying to put steps in place to prepare for his arrival, but he came early. He came over a month and a half early.
Oh, wow.
So I was completely shocked. I had nothing was prepared. And so I had basically been winging it ever since. And so it was never crossed my mind that I can't, or I'm not going to keep my business. It was more so how do I do this? How do I juggle both?
Okay.
And especially because the first 9 months of my son's life, he was at home all day with me. He was at my ex-husband was working and all that, and he was at home with me, and I'm trying to do client work and then have a newborn with me for 9 months. Mm-hmm. Nearly lost my mind, to be honest. I nearly lost my mind.
I'm sure.
Doing it.
I'm sure.
And so finally got him into childcare and then got some balance. But then, from that experience, I really realized that I had to create some personal boundaries because it was really taking a toll on me mentally and physically.
Okay. So when you say, because we talked about vacation and balance and personal time, and you hit the nail on the head about self-care. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to do more of that.
Yes.
But
you have to.
But it's a challenge too for someone, a lot of small business owners. So I know you said you're closed on Friday. Is there a certain time frame you're hey, I need to take a vacation after so many months or so many weeks? Do you incorporate exercise?
Of course, yeah. So I exercise 5 days a week. I have to do it for mental health and physical health. I drink my water. Mm-hmm. I will even, try to incorporate massages and stuff as much as possible. I don't necessarily have a routine of every 3 months I go on a vacation. It's just when I feel like I need a vacation, I go on a vacation.
Okay.
That's kind of how it is. But I make sure that I take so good care of myself. And to be honest, I think taking care of yourself really correlates to revenue. Because when I wasn't taking that, not doing as good at the self-care department, my revenue wasn't doing that well. But once I really upped my self-care, my revenue went up with it. And it's true. If you're getting the sleep, I'm making sure I'm getting plenty of sleep.
Well, how many hours do you really get every day?
I try to get at least a good 8 hours.
You're not the norm.
I know, but I had to because I used to do that working on to the late hours and then cross-eyed and then I was I have to really, I have a timer on my phone and when it's time for bed, how iPhones have that. Mm-hmm. And I make sure that I'm in bed by 11 and I'm usually up around 6:37.
Okay, so I'm learning. See, look, it's not just, for y'all. It's for me. Well, I don't get 7-8 hours of sleep.
You need to.
I don't. And of course you will learn. Maybe a couple other people. You all know I talk about Lindsay, the guy who, produces everything. I think he gets 10 hours of sleep.
Oh, nice.
I don't know.
I know that's right.
I don't know, but I'm where's all this free time coming? But, that is amazing that you can do that. And I think it's a good point, too, that you share with other people that it correlates to income.
It does.
All right. So your son probably has his activities. Mm-hmm. And how old is he?
He's 5.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he's not really involved too much in everything. But I'm sure he's going to probably get into
into sports and all that.
So then there's going to be a time where you're going to have to balance his schedule, your schedule, and then your business.
Yeah.
So it's right now you're actually laying the groundwork.
I'm laying the groundwork and I will adjust accordingly when that time comes and figure out what works at that time.
Okay. So speaking of your son and, the village, I'm sure you have, because, like I said, you look young. You look good. You don't look like you've aged any. So you probably have a village of people or circle of friends that is your support system. Have you seen it change over the years from when you started from that big corporate firm, and then you transitioned to now your small business or your business?
Yeah, I will say that. I mean, there were like friendships or acquaintances that I had when I was in Big Law that didn't necessarily sustain themselves through my journey as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would say I connect a lot more now with other entrepreneurs or just other like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
I do have, some tried and true friends and stuff that I still, been friends to this day since I was a kid or from high school that I really value. But for me, I've always been about, quality over quantity. So
Mm-hmm.
I keep my circle small and tight. And I really value those who are in my circle. And I really try to surround myself with like-minded people who, bring peace into my life and are supportive. None of that fake friend stuff. None of that, you don't do that around here. So that's that's kind of what I focus on. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been doing this for 7 years.
I've been in business 7 years. Been doing this for 13.
Yeah. Okay. So right, you've been in business for 7 years. So eventually, you're probably going to have to exit. Yeah. Or maybe not. I mean, I don't know. Have you thought about an exit strategy?
I haven't thought about it from a sense of like a well thought out plan. I just know that I want my business to be around all the way up until essentially my son gets out of like high school. And then once that happens, I'm open to other things. I even considered like getting into other things like, real estate investing or maybe franchising, like other kinds of business opportunities. But I just know that ratings IP law is something that I will continue to do at least, God willing, at least until my son, gets through high school. And then I will retire. He's not even kindergarten yet. He's in pre-K. I got some time.
12 years.
13 years, basically.
Okay, 13 years.
So I've got some time, and so I've got time to figure out the exit strategy, but I kind of have thought about what life will be like once I'm an empty nester, which is no time soon.
Well, it's right around the corner. I mean, essentially. I know you say 12, 13 years, but look how this year has flown by.
It has flown by.
We're in almost in the holiday season.
I know. My favorite time of year.
So we have to start thinking about that. So if you haven't thought about it, I motivate, encourage you because you don't want to be working the rest of your life.
Oh no, that's not.
Because once he goes to school, you're going to want to travel. Probably.
Oh, and I will. Yeah,
more.
I'll probably be living in a tiny home somewhere. I've always wanted to live in a tiny home.
Okay. So we talked about your book a little bit. I'm just curious. When did you write the book?
Wrote the book during the pandemic, 2020. Really? Yeah.
Okay, so, how'd you go about doing it? Because there are a lot of people out there that have a story to tell and have some information to share. And, this is your first book, right?
First book, yes.
Okay, so how did you go about doing it? And, because I got a couple stories to tell.
I bet you do. I guess it was one of the book was like divinely, a divine vision for me. So in 2020, I was up late one night and then it was just like, it came to me to like write this book, call it Trademark Like a Boss. And literally 2 weeks later, I hired a book writing coach to kind of get it published. And then I went away for a 3-day weekend staycation and wrote the book in 72 hours.
Shut up.
Yeah, because I know trademarks. Like I knew, like that's the thing. I wrote about something I knew. It's not like I had to think about or come up with these. Like I wrote about something I knew. So I had all this knowledge in my head. I just needed to put it on paper. Okay, so you wanted to write this book. I always look at people that write books as another stream of income. It is, yeah. Have you benefited from? Absolutely. Okay, so. Yeah. Y'all go out and buy the book. Yes, go buy it on Amazon or visit our website. Support Radiance and that component. Yes. Is there something else, like what can RX Catering, what can people that are watching, how can we help you get to that, well, 1 million businesses that you want to help, and then 2,
just in general, how can we help you be the best Radiance IP law that you can be?
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, for starters, our Trademark Like a Boss brand is basically our educational brand. So it consists of the book, and then we do a workshop.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do a 2-hour in-depth workshop for the trademark process. And then I also have a weekly video podcast show.
Okay.
And so that's our educational arm. So sharing that information with as much people as possible, because a lot of small business owners, one, don't even know what a trademark is, why it's important, and why they actually need to protect theirs. And so getting that out is important. And then secondly, just sharing our services. So we do actual services. We help people through the trademark process. We have an all-inclusive flat rate trademark registration service, which is our signature offering. And so we help people get through and navigate the complex and long trademark process. So those are really two ways that you can, help move our mission forward. And, feel free, of course, to connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Radiance Harris ESQ. I'm also on LinkedIn, as well as you can visit our website, radianceiplaw.com.
Okay. Y'all, I know, we cook with love here. So I'm I'm sure that phrase could be trademark.
Yes, your business name, any slogans you use, all of those would be eligible for trademarks. Yes.
It's a win-win over here. Not only can you benefit, but everyone I can benefit from all the information that Radiance has shared today. I so appreciate your time today because, y'all don't know the DMV area, but Radiance had to travel from way in Maryland. But she made it a point to be here today. And I think that's what it's all about, women supporting other women and small businesses. And so thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
I hope you enjoy when she eats.
I'm about to tear this food up. Okay.
And I hope you too have gained some additional information and valuable information from Radiance, because as you all know, we talked about, you need a good attorney, you need a good accountant, you need someone to make sure that your business is protected.
Yep.
And, I only have fabulous people on my cooking show. So this is one of them. If you haven't, like I said, checked her out, you need to do so. So as always, we appreciate you joining Cooking with Sharon, the Business Chat. We'll see you next time.